Where are the gorillas? Gorillas! Gorillas!
So, what happened to Gorilla George's, or where is Gorilla George's, and why is there no trace of it left on the net? I came across an interesting post a few weeks back as I searched around for old retro stuff that I usually do. And I found an interesting post on Reddit from a user, Your Pun Pal, and he was kind of reminiscing and wanted to, and thought about, hey, what happened to Gorilla George's, just in the our Rio Grande Valley subreddit. And I read onto it. I think I posted a reply. I mean, I grew up in the valley. My family celebrated a lot of birthdays here, and obviously I've been to. I was at Gorilla George's several times. There's quite a few really good birthday places that that were here in the valley. There was Mr. Fun's. There was Nickelodeon's. There was Funtime Pizza, Fantasyland. I think even others. There was a pizza place that I have some distant memory of that I can't, had a pirate on top of it. I think there was an Adventure Plaza. Obviously Chuck E. Cheese before it moved. It was in a different location. I think now where the Funtime Pizza is. And then obviously, Funtime Pizza came into the valley a little bit after. I think they were already up when Mr. Fun's was still open in Sharingland. But those ones, I haven't sourced out facts and stuff like that. I have some old pictures of Fantasyland and, retro. Fantasyland actually recently moved. And Mount Asia was another one. I remember doing lock-ins there, etc. But Gorilla George's, I remember quite well. I was a young kid when I was there, but I was able to find some old information and some old pictures from my family's trips out there. But first, I just wanted to kind of go through some of the stuff in the thread because some of it's right, some of it's wrong, and I wanted to kind of just clarify some of those points. TV commercial did go, "Hey, Mom and Dad, you want to go to Gorilla George's?" That was all. That I mean, he was correct that there's something we're going to get into, and I'm going to talk about Funtime Pizza in this video as well. But a lot of people seem to think that Funtime Pizza and Gorilla George's are the same place. They just changed owners. That's not true. So that was correct. The commercial was there. Here's another guy, reminiscing. I want to talk about Mr. Fun's. Think all that was good. Did have bumper cars. There absolutely were bumper cars there. There is. So we're talking about the record of Gorilla George's. So as far as I've searched, and I think I've searched as hard as anybody else that's created either the Reddit thread or the Twitter thread. Really, all that you can find is a picture of Gorilla George's token. Now, I collect arcades. I bought arcades from the local Texas market. I have found Gorilla George's tokens. This is before I knew anybody was really trying to reminisce or market that. A lot of the times when I buy an arcade and it's got old Peter Piper pizzas or Gorilla George tokens, I chunked them. I'm meaning to go dig through some of my old stuff. I've actually moved my arcades up back and forth between Dallas and here, so God only knows what happens to some of them. But if I do find some, maybe those who really are passionate about reminiscing about Gorilla George's, maybe I can give them away in a giveaway or something like that. So if you're really interested to see if I ever do find them or whatnot, subscribe to the channel and I'll update you here. So that's basically it. I mean, there was like one old unfilled Reddit review, not Reddit review, Yelp review. There was some other information, and we'll go through that in just a second. But there really isn't any pictures, and nobody had an old birthday picture, a grainy photo, etc., that are out there. I think someone posted a link to a YouTube video.
You didn't hear it from me, but this place is a sinking ship.
This video goes to
I've got about 2 quarters before
essentially what the Rockafire explosion kind of thing was. Somebody, people, the RAE, right, the Rockafire explosion band, which never was at Gorilla George's. Gorilla George's never had an RAE set up. Funtime Pizza did. So Funtime Pizza had this loose association with Showtime Pizza, and they actually had what's called an RAE mini stage. So it wasn't the full stage; it was just a mini, and there was only like 3 or 4 that they talked about. So this guy actually, collects a bunch of the RAE points and the animatronics, and he restores them. And there's a good documentary. It's actually right here, the Rockafire explosion documentary. I recommend watching it. But it's controlled by biddies. So if you import a MIDI track and program the MIDI track the correct way, you can take a modern song or any song really, and get the band to play to the beat and open the eyes and drum the drums and come out of the cans and sing duets and solos correctly to pretty much almost any song. So that's pretty interesting. But it had nothing to do with Gorilla George's. So we had another user, Polybius. It says he feels like he's got a pick inside. Probably, I mean, some of these pics are buried. I spent all of yesterday digging through my grandma's old photos just because my grandma's a photo hoarder, and just like Brown suggested that he would do, that he would go find some photos, and I think this is where I finally came in. And said, hey, I know I have pictures inside of this. I know I've been to birthday parties there. My family always took pictures of birthday parties, and luckily I was able to pan out. So I was interested to see this Twitter thread popped up, and it was this Twitter user at Rebel Taxi. I plan on picking him as soon as this video is done. Is to help me track down anything related to Gorilla George's Pizza in Mcallen, Texas, which is in the Rio Grande Valley. Vanished off the net, helped me rediscover my childhood. All we found is a picture of a single token. So that was a really interesting thread. We'll go through it just a little bit. There's a ride in the middle that will go around and around. There's bumper cars. Golden Axe, I played on that Golden Axe. That game was very much there. And from my memory, I mean, my memory is pretty bad. I can remember a lot of the arcades in Funtime Pizza. And those are the ones I actually hunt for and search for now that I collect arcades in this generation. Golden Axe is the one that I can remember. I think they had a Neo Geo, and I remember one or two of the Redemption games. But one was a basketball game. It was a kids basketball game. It actually had the highest ticket to effort ratio. So that's the one I would hit up when I was trying to get toys and stuff like that. So I was tall enough that I could reach my hand back to the basketball basket, and I would just flick the basketball in front of the sensor as fast as I could, which would make it sit up 24, 48 tickets per quarter, and that was the best you could do. And I would help my cousins get tickets so that they could get dolls or toys or whatever that they want. It did have a playroom. There was actually two mini coasters. There was, and I'll show you pictures of them. There's a roller coaster on tracks that you have to see a picture of it, and a swing. So it had a swing with a big base, and the swing would kind of rotate and just like that. But and it had a big play area. This is all correct. Sarah Awesome seems to have a couple tokens, which is pretty cool. Mini coasters are there. What's there now is a thrift city. You can still see the line. That is correct. That is the correct location of Gorilla George's. So the place that's there now is a thrift city. So I can clearly remember when we drove to the birthday parties, and there has been some, when I've been reading through these threads, there's been some confusion that people seem to think that Funtime Pizza closed and then became Gorilla George's, but they were two separate locations. In fact, I think there was a period of overlap that they were both open. That one is not 100% clear in my memory, but I do 100% know that Gorilla George's was exactly where the thrift city is now. It had that rocky, weird veneer on the outside. There used to be a fabric shop that was across from it. But yeah. Okay, so this one remembers playing a Metal Slug. So when I said earlier, I'm pretty sure there was a Neo Geo there. That's true, because Neo Geos play SNK games. Metal Slug is an SNK game. So it probably had a 2-slot or a 1-slot, because I don't remember a lot of games. Now, Fantasyland had a 4-slot. It had Aero Fighters 2, World Heroes, and 2 other games that they'd actually switched out a couple of times. But the ones that I remember really clearly are those. But as far as Gorilla George's, if he remembers Metal Slug and I remember Neo Geo, then for sure it had a Neo Geo. This is just me telling your pen pal last night that I found the photos. I don't ever remember. I mean, obviously I wasn't from San Benito. I don't remember anything about San Benito. And there being a location. Obviously, we wouldn't have gone out there for a birthday party, so someone else is going to have to comment on that one. But I don't remember there being a Gorilla George's in San Benito. Jags in Edinburgh, I absolutely do remember. And in fact, last night when I was searching through my stuff, I found a card for Jags Planet Pizza. So if anybody's got maybe I'll do a giveaway if somebody wants an old Jags Planet Pizza card and stuff like that. I'll try to upload a photo when I post the photos of Funtime Pizza and Gorilla George's later. I will include that. So I want to kind of move over to the Pan Pizza thread. So Pan Pizza or the user Rebel Taxi. Sorry, I'm reading my Twitter wrong. Wants to track it down. So this got to, it was just to 2017. I think got 92 retweets, 394 likes. Someone says they found an old grainy photo of it. I've looked at this photo. That's obviously a gas station in the foreground. I can't tell if it's Thrift City in the background. So I don't know what's going on there, but I don't think it's entirely accurate. Unless this is just a really bad photo and that is Thrift City in the background, which it's so grainy I can't tell, then it's not. Seems to have been an amusement park, not the pizzeria. I mean, it was both, right? Pizza was available. That was the main form of food. Same as Funtime Pizza or Chuck E. Cheese or anything like that. It was like a tiny amusement park. It had a lot of ride to it. There was definitely less arcade in Gorilla George's than there was in Funtime Pizza, for example, or Nickelodeon's. And there were more rides, more party space, and more redemption games. As I remember, the arcades at the back right corner of the building, you had one wall of arcade that came across that started, coming across the wall from the back right corner, and it would make an L. So if you were standing toward the back of the building, you had a row of arcades in front of you. You had a row of arcades coming back up to your right side. You turned around, there was another, it finished off like a U shape, and then there was some arcades on the other side of that, and then that's it, and it ended, and the playground was over there. So definitely not as much arcade content as like a Funtime Pizza. Arnon, you wrote Yelp, obviously because Gorilla George's closing predates Yelp. So Yelp was founded, years after Gorilla George's closed. So this person's wrong, right? So he claims that it used to be a restaurant called Funtime Pizza with a working RAE band, right, the Rocket Fire Explosion band, that was in the same location as Gorilla George's, and at some point it changed. That's incorrect because they were two separate locations. And Funtime Pizza closed when Showtime Pizza bought out the rights. Like they bought out, the KineticEntertainment bought out all the rights to Showtime Pizza places and kind of closed down the locations that they weren't ready to invest in, and then opened up locations that they wanted to invest in. So Chuck E. Cheese kind of absorbed those things. Unfortunately, no, it's not it's not accurate that Funtime Pizza and Gorilla George's were owned by the same people or done anything like that. So the location is a thrift store. I mean, he is accurately that Gorilla George's existed as a thrift store, or Gorilla George's existed where the thrift store now is. That piece of the statement is accurate. Obviously, Uber Eats won't deliver because it was closed a bazillion years ago. Closed in 2013. Checks, right? I have no memories of it after 2013. I would even go to say that maybe it just closed a little bit earlier or died out. Maybe my family just stopped going earlier in 2013. Whatever's going on in this video is not it. That's not Gorilla George's. That's not where Gorilla George's was. I think that's the video I'm making right here, Corvus. So hopefully, a couple people talking about where they've been. Actually, a crosslink. This post actually goes off a different play. He was looking for something called Adventure Plaza, and found it. So he found some information about Adventure Plaza. Adventure Plaza, I never went to, so that's a whole other mystery thread that I know. No idea where this number goes. I think it's a disconnected number. It's changed hands. Let's see if that addresses exactly where we're going. So 924 East Highway, US 83. So 924 East Highway. Yeah, I think East. What did I mess up there? 924 East US Highway 83. Oh, I forgot the yes. Yeah, so this is exactly where Gorilla George's was. In this building, you see, if you kind of zoom in, and it's grainy on the satellite photos, but you'll see these are rock veneers or rock verandas. Yep, but this is exactly where I'd pull in, and we'd walk up into there and, celebrate birthday parties and stuff like that at Gorilla George's. On the other side was a fabric store. That much I do remember. So we'll just kind of zoom in on this location. But this was the address of Gorilla George's. Let's see, go to satellite view. So this is exactly where it was. The believe where the American Freight Furniture and Mattress was. That was 100%. I think that was the fabric shop, or was a fabric shop back in the world, or whatnot. Let's see if we can do a street view around here. Probably. Alrighty then. Yeah, this used to be a fabric factory when we used to go. And then there it is. There is exactly the location of Gorilla George's. It's this area, and I guess this entire plaza had that rock veneer, but the building was this one. Let's continue going through here. So yeah, it was Marx's amusement. It was still a pizza place. Like, I think it, just categorized as an amusement park because it had a lot of amusement games in it. I don't think anybody found anything on the Wayback Machine. 924. This is the correct location. Somebody comes in and gives the correct location that was a place. Giant inflatable gorilla. I want to say that on the roof, for a period of time, there was a giant inflatable gorilla on the roof. I do want to say that. That tracks true. I'm going to say I'm 80% on that one. I'm going to say 80% that there was a giant inflatable gorilla on the roof of Gorilla George's for a period of time. Maybe not all the time, because I went to pizza birthday parties there from, like, Christina, my cousin, was young to older. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. That from this next statement is, like, I also saw those block gorillas on dealerships or whatnot. This guy's just being surreal, etc. It was near Plaza. Yeah, I mean, it was in a plaza. The zone is actually what came after Mount Asia. So if you remember the zone, you might have missed Mount Asia. Mount Asia was the first offering. So I'm 35 years old now. I was here before Mount Asia was opened, and then Mount Asia opened, and had a couple birthday parties there, a couple hangouts with school friends. Actually went to a lock-in, that kind of stuff or whatnot. Actually, Mount Asia was pretty lit. Now, then they turned it into the zone. I think I was 16, 17 when Mount Asia was open. That was a spot to go for dates and stuff like that because their putt-putt course was pretty lit. Yeah, zone had batting cages and mini golf, both when it was Mount Asia and the zone. So he's confusing, like, old Mount Asia or old the zone for Gorilla George's or whatnot. They're totally separate, totally different locations. It is if someone erased the chain from existence. Chuck E. Cheese did not absorb Gorilla George's, not to anything, because I actually, because of my arcade obsession, I read a lot about Showtime Pizza, and my son runs Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff like that. There's nothing that I have ever found, and I could be wrong. I'm not like I have a little bit of knowledge about this stuff because I collect arcades, but from everything that I've ever read, Chuck E. Cheese never absorbed KineticEntertainment, and I actually, no, I'm not gonna say that. So they did not absorb, Gorilla George's. They did absorb Funtime Pizza, but I don't think they had anything. I think Gorilla George's just closed on its own. Going kind of off the rails with here. Someone says he remembers having an old VHS tape with cartoons recorded, and a commercial aired multiple times with kids waving. There was kids waving in the commercial. Yep, he's correct that it's worth the city is on A3 near the Dairy Queen, but he said he never went, but he probably passed by it. Nope, Edinburgh Mcallen had several other things other than Peter Piper's, as I said. Fantasia, Fantasyland, Nickelodeon's was in Far, Funtime Pizza, Mr. Fun's. I mean, technically, Mr. Fun's is in Sherryland, but that's fine. I think that's all there are. So, without further ado, so that's all the information that the internet has now. Let me go to the photos that I found last night and take you through a slideshow and tell you any kind of background that I have. So it's a little bit darker. These are all taken on 35mm Kodak cameras. My family was crazy about the instant Kodak camera. That's what they used. So this was my cousin Christina's party. There I am, wearing a DEA shirt because I thought I was funny when I was, God, I must have been 16, maybe 15. I think I drove there. Yeah, I did. I drove there that day. I was 16. And I was born in '84, so that was the 84 plus 16 that's a 90. That's 2000. So this had to be in 2000, in the millennium, I guess. I don't know any of the other people in these pictures. I think they showed up for my cousin's party. Here in the background, you can see the gate. This is the blue gate around one of the attractions. Back toward this area is where the arcade section is. I can't really make off these wordings and stuff like that, so that's, But tables, party chairs, tables are green. Let's go to the next picture. This is my Uncle Kevin, who was Christina's father. He was like a dad to me, and he's the one who took me to Funtime Pizza for the first time. And I'd get in trouble, and I'd cry and finagle it, and somehow I'd end up in the arcade. And which is one of the reasons I have such a huge passion for collecting arcades today. I'm just in a small way I'm chasing down a piece of my youth that I really enjoyed because I lost my uncle when I was 17. He passed away. This is my cousin Jeannie, rocking some Tommy Hilfiger pants. This gate again is to that roller coaster. So this big area right here is where the roller coaster is, and I have a much clearer shot of it in just a moment. That's my cousin Christina. I think her aunt's giving her a kiss. She'd just gotten some form of Barbie, etc. This table's got a table cover on it because the table's green. It just has a table cover on it. Kevin is slowly examining this ancient piece of toy tech to figure out how to put it together. I assume. There's my cousin Christina. I can't tell which birthday this was of hers. I mean, she's probably 6 right here. The benches were natural wood, painted red. Oh, I guess they did change color. Cool, because the other colors were red and this one is red. Oh. So here you can see the fence gating to the roll-around roller coaster. In the back we have some of the movable arcades. These are the type that you find in front of a laundromat. You put a quarter in and they move and they go. You can see a sign up here that says food, probably toward the vendor area because they did have a food stand. I just don't really recall where it is. Typical shot, kids gathered around the table, lighting candles for the birthday party. Doesn't really give you a lot of info or background of Gorilla George's. So this probably comes from 95, 96, maybe even 97. Christina was a little bit younger because Christina's the same girl from the pictures, and me and Kevin were probably just there, not at a birthday party, but just hanging out and chilling out. We see a Cave Mania, machine or ticket redemption scene in the background. We got a standard, shoot basketball from point kind of thing, get tickets and stuff like that. They had a Tom and Jerry ride along. You'll see a lot of these at Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese bought a ton of these when they were in business. But this is just a couple years previous to at Gorilla George's at the same location, just a couple years in between the two. Same thing. These ride-along things are pretty common for the arcades, in the valley, at least in that time period, through 92 through apparently 2000. This one was a helicopter, so you can't really make it out. I can remember it. It's got this like shiny, glittery red paint job, and it has the movable base, and these are the two lights in front of the helicopter. It's got like a little snub nose. This is the cockpit to it. If you went above the picture where it cut it off, there was like 3 little tiny plates, and then you would stick the kid in there. There was a little helicopter stick, and the game would ride back and forth. There's a spaceman machine type of thing that Christina's in right here. This is a gator hit, right? So if you can remember, there used to be you put a quarter in, the little gator bases would come out, and you'd pop them in the head, and it'd go back, and based on your score, you get tickets. And then this is a rideable motorcycle. Claudia, that's Christina's mother. Standard, birthday shit going on here. Again, standard birthday kind of stuff. Really no new information about Gorilla George's. That we've got green tables, we've got red tables. This is the Coca-Cola cups, that they gave. I can remember those. Again, just a nice birthday shot. Here's the kind of floor that was using, standard linoleum, blah, blah, blah. A lot of places were using that common. Again, this is the fence gate to the to the roller coaster ride that was on the other side of it. This is a picture of my uncle and his wife Claudia talking. What you can call it. Apparently taking money out of cards because Christina got some money in a birthday card. Now here's the best shot I think I have. No, I have two shots of this. I have this is the roller coaster ride that was there present at Gorilla George's. So that the big blue fence surrounded the whole thing so it could operate. It's kind of really similar to like I think an Alpine carnival ride. So the disco ball in the middle. This is all like that, that canvas, that play canvas that you'd see on playgrounds. You'd strap into this wildly dangerous roller coaster thing. It had a Christmas theme to it, so there were Christmas trees on it. And you'd ride around and around and around. Now, you can see most of these kids have bracelets, so they worked on a bracelet system. So you didn't get tickets and ride in. They may have sold tickets, but every time I went, you would pay a price, and you'd get a wristband, and then you could play on the swing, on the roller coaster, and in the playground, and any of the other attractions. I think there was also a small train on tracks. I can remember a little train on tracks, and it would go, dur, 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 dur. That's actually Christina, my cousin, in the ride. I was trying to get a picture of her, but it's real blurry. There was a tree on the wall, so I don't think this stood up, but this was like on the wall. It was a decoration as part of the wall, and that's actually an elf, like a elf skiing. And then there's like a little play area. I think this may have been where the train was. It's just too grainy for me to really make it out. Here's another shot or angle of the roller coaster that was in the middle of it. And I think this was like a Yeti. Someone was trying to make a Yeti interpretation. This is, the Alpine, type of thing going on. Now here is the only shot I have of the swing set. So it's the same place, the same type of blue fencing that they use to protect off the rides. That's my mom, and she's a nice old lady. She taught at La Jolla for years, and Miss Murphy. And this swing thing in the background would have you can see the little seats right here. I know it's a little bit grainy, but the two ropes came down, they held you in a seat, the kids would load up into the seats, and it would start rotating, and the seats would kind of fly, left, and you'd kind of hover a little bit because it would spin fast enough to get you kind of rotated up in the air. I think this is the same party, Christina's party there. Maybe I scanned this picture twice. Yeah. This is a weird one. This is an overexposed photo that somehow has a laundry basket that was at our house, and then parts of the gym. This section right here is parts from the gym section from the Gorilla George's. My Uncle Kevin rocking that 2000 denim, and the birthday table. So it's a really weird overexposed photo that at best gives a little bit of a view to the playground structure that was there. And that's what I have. That's what I have on Gorilla George's as far as the pictures. I do have to dig around, maybe see if I can get some of the coins. So maybe stick around for another video if I do find the coins. I'm actually going to try to do a video on Fantasyland, all the other ones. There's some other friends that I have that have much better recollections and pictures of like Nickelodeons. I know some gamers out of Critical Hit that really spent a lot more time at Nickelodeons than I did. And might have some pictures because there's not even a lot of stuff on there. But what I want to continue talking about is Funtime Pizza, because that was my favorite place. Gorilla George's I enjoyed, and I hope that I've helped put back a piece of what those of you guys who are crazy about Gorilla George's, to help you fill in some of the gaps, because I know I love remembering this stuff. But Funtime Pizza was. Especially because it got confused with Gorilla George's so much, and so I just really want to, talk a little bit about the same kind of stuff that was going. So Funtime Pizza has very few. There's very few Google results for Funtime Pizza, and it's interesting, and we'll talk about this now. So here's a really interesting piece that I paged. So this is out of the Monitor in 1989, as I understand. Yeah, it was out of the Monitor in 1989. And this was the opening of Funtime Pizza, which is, I guess, the ribbon cutting, right? And you can read the Mcallen ambassadors gave a ribbon cutting ceremony for the opening of Funtime Pizza, located at the Main Place Shopping Center. So here's the confirmation. This is at the main. Funtime Pizza was at the Main Place Shopping Center. Funtime Pizza has a Funtime Theater, which is the RAE, the Rocket Fire Explosion Theater, with mechanical puppets, an indoor Star Walk, game room, video games, and coin-operated rides. They offer pizza birthday packages for the whopping $2.95 per person, with free balloons, party hats, and favors, a hostess to help with kids, which is true, a free gift for the birthday kid, large one-topping pizza, and a pitcher of soft drink for every 4 guests. Call Rick Garcia, who is the general manager, at a number I haven't called yet, but, I think it's rude to call numbers that existed a bazillion years ago. You guys want to investigate who might have had that number back then. Standing in the picture are Tom Polzin, Tanae Miller, Ruben Solis, Julie Clement, Andrew Adler, Arnaldo Ramirez Sr., Arnaldo Ramirez Jr., David Trevino, Rick Garcia, Mark Dizdar, probably out of Dizdar Development. That'd be an interesting thing to do, is to call up Dizdar Development, maybe see if anybody knows Mark, and if he has any old pictures of the construction or anything going on. I might do that. Diana Wissier, Kathy Voigt, Rozzy Wilkinson, Harvey Kowalski, and other Mcallen ambassadors. Probably out of like the Mcallen Chamber of Commerce and stuff like that. Because this is pretty interesting. Out of like the old modern style thing, they used to talk about business a lot more back in the day, right? They would talk about HEB's businesses. I think they were talking about Lax somewhere here else, or not. What's going on in this corner? I don't know. But so that was their ribbon cutting ceremony. Now, if you Google image Funtime Pizza, the only 3 images that are actually from, and this is the best, clearest picture of the outside of Funtime Pizza that still exists. I mean, even I know I don't have any outside shots. I have some cool pictures inside of it, but I don't have any outside shots of Funtime Pizza. And there's practically none. There's one decent shot of the RAE band. And now, as I said, this is the RAE Mini. So there's 3 characters, I believe, on the stage. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Maybe there was the oil can Harry over here, but that's just what I call him. But this is the best inside shot. We really have no shots of the arcades or anything else like that. Not that I have, but I also kind of screwed up. I should have taken more pictures when I was a kid. This one, I don't know. I don't think that's inside Funtime Pizza. I don't remember that piece being there, but that's for that. But interestingly enough, when Showtime Pizza bought out Funtime Pizza and they closed out, I don't know where the copyright is. Technically, I think the copyright's open because of like. I looked it up. Theoretically, I think you can use the logo on anything you want to do right now. But there is a Funtime Pizza that opened in the Middle East. Let me find out where it was, because it's not only Lithuania. I mean, it's in the far Middle East that the Funtime Pizza opened. Yeah, so they opened, and they used the same font and the same logo, and they opened up in Saudi Arabia. Right, so there is a Funtime Pizza that that opened, and it's still in existence. It's still open today. And if I ever get the chance to go, you damn well better, I'm gonna go. But still open today, and uses the same font, except I think this is in Farsi, or I'm not sure what Saudi Arabians write in, but the pizza has changed to whatever the local language alphabet is, but the font is exactly the same, almost in the same colors. If you compare to, this is a teal, this is a violet, and this is a yellow. So they change the colors. It changes to yellow green and yellow green. So, but yeah, it's hard to tell that this is a teal, but I can remember it real clearly. But that's about it. That's all the photos. These link back to a Showbiz Pizza, which they kind of try to keep a little bit of a historical record of places that were open. These are the ones that they relate to the 1990s Mcallen, Texas location. I'm going to say yes to this one. Yes to this one. Absolutely. Those were Funtime Pizza Mcallen. This was Funtime Pizza Mcallen, 100%. This almost looks. Oh, that's what that. Yeah, that was oil can Harry. This part was at a different section. That part's really broken up, man. I'm trying to remember that area. I think that the stage was at separate sides. This is the one that I can't remember seeing there, right? I can remember seeing all the other ones. I can't remember seeing this guy there. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I can't. It goes blank. I never saw this banner there at a time, so I have no idea what that is. Let's see here. What's the other? I'll close that down. So the hold on one second here. Where was the? Yeah. So the Flux, which is a local video game place here in Mcallen, Texas, they had posted a picture. So they tagged up the old one that was there. Who remembers it? A couple of people from there who are into vintage and retro. Like to correctly refer to it. This is very similar to like Pan Pizza's threads, or not Pan Pizza. What was his name? Rebel Taxi thread. So, and now it's a Kirkland's. I think that's correct. I've got a photo, and we'll talk about it, that shows 700 as the address, and Kirkland's address is Suite 700, and Kirkland's is Suite 600. You know, that could account. There could be any reason, like, you know, Funtime Pizza could have. Obviously, it was really big, so I think it had multiple suites and multiple entrances, and the suite number was written on the entrances. But I can't, like, I know that Kirkland's Plaza is exactly what Plaza is. Whether it was Kirkland's or was on the other side of Kirkland's, that's what I'm having a hard time remembering. It is next to Movie 6. That was the location. So Movie 6 Plaza was like on the other side. Gold Mine, something else I don't remember, but I think was in the Valley. I think I heard rumorings of people talking about that. It was by the Movie 6 in the Plaza Mall. Why did it close? It was closed because Chuck E. Cheese Entertainment bought up the rights. No, Showtime Pizza. Showtime Pizza bought up the rights, and then Chuck E. Cheese bought up the rights to Showtime Pizza. I think that's how it went. I remember it being on Nolana and then moving by Movie 6, I think. I don't remember it ever being anywhere near Nolana. So, I mean, if you, Rob, have pictures, or there's nothing on the net, there's nothing anywhere historical that has anything about it being on Nolana. It was always off of Expressway 83. So, I don't know where that came from. Sorry to call you out like that, but I mean, if you've got proof, you know, let me know, because I'm really interested in the history of Funtime Pizza. This Juan was pretty lucky to get $14 out of $1. $14 worth of tokens out of $1. That's pretty cool. But school trips went there all the time. Yeah, Gorilla George is something like that. Of the name, I was like 5 years old. See, again, a really incorrect memory of linking the two when they were two entirely separate things. This is, that's correct. Whatchamacallit, George Stiller and me. He had a dad that would take him there every weekend when he was a kid. I went there a lot too. He's just saying he don't remember stepping inside. Okay, that's helpful. This is interesting. So Samaniego was, sorry if I said that wrong, so said that she worked there many moons ago. And I don't want to get into too much of people's pictures, but I have a couple pictures of employees there. It'd be interesting. It was the same thing. Heather forgot about the place. Giant mechanized rat. Yeah, that was RE stuff or whatnot. This person is saying he preferred Gorilla George's. I don't. I like Gorilla George's, but I preferred Funtime Pizza. Whatchamacallit. Again, we're getting into very heated shit about, who says what was where. So, this guy is very upset, just kind of like me. Is that who's saying it was on Nolana? And Celeste says there was one on Nolana, and it was like, I think Khan was saying there wasn't one on Nolana. Yeah, we were, and the picture turned into a Peter Piper for a pizza too. I can't understand this chain of thinking. Funtime Pizza was never on Nolana. Like, I would know if Funtime Pizza was on Nolana. It was never on Nolana. So I don't know between Celeste or these other people how you remember it, but Pixar didn't happen. Roy went there once, said people were rude. I never experienced any rudeness there. I remember the pizza being good. Chuck E. Cheese did open, and I have some pictures of the 90s Chuck E. Cheese, but, etc. So I think some of the people up here might be remembering the Chuck E. Cheese on 10th Street, maybe where it intersected with Nolana. I don't know. Now it's Kirkland's. That's true. Original in South Mcallen. That's not true. There was no other original. This was the first place Funtime Pizza. If you track it back to the ribbon cutting ceremony, that this is where they they open the plaza. Like, this is where they're at in the main plaza shopping center. And that was there a theater arcade at La Plaza Mall too? So what you're talking about, Javi, here in this photo is you're remembering Nickelodeon, which was by Cinema 8. So if you remember now where the Cine Next is now, and Main Event and all that new construction over, and it was El Centro Mall, right? It wasn't La Plaza, it was El Centro Mall, and there was a dollar movie and there was a Nickelodeon. So the dollar movie was just off to the right, and if you walk into the first door of El Centro Mall, on the left-hand side was Nickelodeon's. And that was a really baller place. It had more recent video games, and it had. Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna have to kill a phone call that's coming in. Sorry about that. Apologies about that video thing coming in. you ever have a phone that just you can't silence sometimes? Ridiculous. But all right, continuing on. So that was Nickelodeon's. Mark has really good. Mark Lasoya has. I think I've met Mark Lasoya out in Crit Hit or whatnot, but he has really familiar memories out there at Funtime Pizza, and so here again, hella something. I remember them moving to the Nolana location and was stoked by the Jungle Gym. I don't think any of that's true. They didn't start at Nolana and they didn't move to Nolana. And I think there might have been a small playground, but I don't think it was a big jungle gym. So, okay. Anyways, well, on to that was all the information, or what on the net on Funtime Pizza. Again, not a whole lot. Here's what I have to add to. This is from one of my birthday parties when I was a kid. So, actually, the same cups. So this is what I can add to the equation of Funtime Pizza. Filling in some of the gaps and some of the history there. So here's me at I was 7 and I was a massive nerd. Maybe 8, I don't know. So you see the standard, napkins kind of things, the metal tins where you get, napkins out of or whatnot. You'd see them in diners like 50s diners and stuff like that. Pretty similar cups to you can see the Texas flag right here on this Coca-Cola cup. This is very during the time where the "Don't Mess with Texas" was a very big, marketing blitz. I think that the timeline overlaps pretty well. Obviously, the style was much better in this would have been probably 91 or 92. It was obviously much better than today. I got a sweet shirt with that looked like the floor that I was standing on. So whatever was going on. And you can see a lot of the rugs in Fantasyland had these same jazzy prints or whatever. So I mean, look at this. This is an awesome shirt. I got a basketball. This is was an old in-law or something of ours and stuff like that. I got a flashlight. You could always use a flashlight, right? But you got a good picture of the chairs. The chairs had this the same violet from their logo, yellow. There's actually a bowl on the ground that I dropped. Here's me eating some pizza, right? Funtime Pizza, 1990, circa 92, 93 era. We had this nice kind of vomit pink on the wall. Teal was in place everywhere. My shirt matched somebody else at the parties and stuff like that. This was a very common print that was used. Here's the playground. Yeah, there was a playground, right? This is the playground sign. That was the thing of here, and then this was whoever took this photo had their back to the entrance area. Toward this hallway or continuing down, right, was oh sorry, I skipped the photo. That's where the rocket fire explosion would be, right? So in this area back and over here to the right, there's awesome arcade. There was rides. There was a lot of the ride-along rides and some arcades. Most of the arcades were up back behind in this corner where on the other side of that playground type of thing. And then on this left-hand side, in this general area, was the stand where you would get your food, and the kitchen was kind of back behind that area. And there was also, I think, as I remember, the place where you would redeem tickets to get prizes was stacked right next, kind of almost the exact similar way that a Peter Piper Pizza set up kind of these days. That same dynamic. Here's just kind of a picture. That's an in-law, and this is my mother. I had 2 moms, so the 80s hair on my mom is out of control, and I need to talk to her about it. So this is kind of the main shopping plaza windows. Like you could look outside. This is kind of a lot of the area where people would sit for the birthday parties and stuff like that. You can see that for the Formica tops that they would rock on the counters and stuff like that. This is my Jeannie, just not looking her best. My cousin Jeannie. We grew up together, and she is in this kind of Voltron rocket ship type of thingy that I have a better picture of in a second. Just not having a good day. Just something is bothering her. But you can see the purple of the walls and the teal of the walls. They really had a lot of crazy colors going on everywhere, which is pretty consistent with the 90s. And here's the best shot that I have of this Voltron kind of clone or ripoff. It had markings on it called Atlas, but it was kind of this Voltron clone. I've been looking for one at auction. I haven't seen one, but you would put a quarter in, it would raise you up, and it would rock you back and forth a little bit, and then it'd come back down. It was the coolest thing. I have pretty clear memories of that one. I could remember it and see it before I'd actually found a picture of it again. So that was a pretty big piece and staple. Here, Jeannie is in a car. So this is like a little Indy 500 car. that they had, another one of the moving rides. You can see specials on the menu that was up here, and then here was a little honor roll thing. So Funtime Pizza had a deal that if you brought them a report card where you were on the honor roll or you had all A's, they would give you free tokens. So they were a pretty good company about encouraging education and being smart. So they were about the kids. I can remember when I was in school, I was a bit of a nerd and I was a bit of a smarty and I read a lot, right? And so I would win packages all the time for like me and 6 people, 6 friends to get free entrance to Fantasyland. I don't recall getting any for Funtime Pizza, but if I showed up to the Funtime Pizza and I brought my report card, I'd always get free tokens and tickets and stuff. But Fantasyland was really good with networking with the schools. Like I went to Mcallen, not to Mcallen, I went to MIMS, which is in Mission, when I was in elementary school, and they were really good about giving out free tokens to kids who were in the accelerated reader program or getting so many points or got good grades on tests and stuff like that. So I mean I almost never paid. My parents never paid for me to go to Fantasyland because I always had good grades. But and I always had the ability to get other people in for free. So that was pretty cool. You can see the menu here, the honor roll. This is where they were explaining if you showed up with those things you could get them. That's a little bit of the menu. I think that's a door out or a window out, etc. So this is a really grainy and really, shitty exposed photo, but it does have in the background here a 7 and a 0. There could have been a 1 there, or a 7, or whatnot. But when you look up 700, 700 on the Suite 700 instead of Kirkland's. So Kirkland's is. Let's look at where the closest people are remembering that. Where is Funtime Pizza. So this is the main shopping plaza, right? So you had, let's find out where's the expressway. The expressway is here. So you come off the expressway and you'd come in to this area, and this is kind of the side that Funtime Pizza would land on, right? So Suite 700, if you switch out for 600 and suite out for 700, it's kind of on this side. No, not 700. Sorry. That is 700. It's kind of more on this side, which I believe Funtime Pizza really just had almost all of this area. And so I think they just kind of, if you got a picture of a door, they probably had different suite numbers. I don't know. I'd have to talk to a realtor, business person. It knows if like a business has to maintain one suite number, if they can have several. But I mean, it's pretty much this area. I'm just, I think the entrance was here, or even here. This was the entrance. Yeah. Because you could see, oh no, the entrance might have been here. You could see the logo from the frontage road as you drove up. Like that I do remember. I remember that I would drive up on the frontage road and I could see the logo. But if you look at like this thing here, it's also got this logo on the side. But there was a corner logo that was really clear on, you see these spires? Let me see if I can go to Street View to help you see it a little bit better. Okay, so here's the frontage road. There's the movie 6, right? So it was right across that thing. So as I can remember, yeah, so if I'm little 10-year-old me, I'm driving in the car. I think that this was the entrance right here. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. This was the entrance, and that was the side. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna call that solved. This is the entrance. This Kirkland's right here. I don't think we can get closer in to see the suite number, but I think that's the same window from here. I think that's the Expressway D3, and I think that's the same window from here. And so this definitely had the Funtime Pizza logo, and then if you went further kind of this way, this photo here matches up with this photo here. So that's positioning, etc. All right, let's go back to the photos. There's my mom with a genie on her lap and me in front of her, etc. This is a cool photo because you can see the employee uniform. And I know it's a little grainy and not super visible. They had a yellow shirt, a little bit of, I think this is maroon or something like a darker red, and a lighter orange that was going on here. And I could just make out the name tag, but I can't make out the name on it. There might have been like a white undershirt here going on, but that's your typical person. Then they would bring the sodas and the pizza out to your table and stuff like that. I always remember them being really nice. Again, chairs, a little bit of signage that's going on in the background, but not a lot else that's that can be made out in that photo. Here's an interesting photo. This was from it's scary too, dude. It's like oof. So I believe they were using counterfeit. I think this is Billy Bob from Rocket Fire Explosion. Yeah. They were using counterfeit ones, and I think they were self-made or made from something else. I mean, they might have gone to China and get them and stuff like that. But I mean, like, I don't remember the Billy Bob's at a Showtime Pizza being this bad. There's a little damage on the picture, before I scanned it, so that could also account for some of the terror that's going on in this photo. This is my cousin Sky, and we grew up together. And here's one of the employees. This is what they would call the hostesses. The hostesses would usually be dressed up as a clown, and they would help entertain the kids and keep the kids happy and stuff like that as the party was going on. This is there were several people that would dress in costume at Funtime Pizza. So I can remember when I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie. I think I was there at Funtime Pizza a couple of days later. So Kevin took me to see Ninja Turtles in the movie theater. We'd like the only people in the movie theater, and a couple of days later we were at Funtime Pizza, and they happened to have turtles dressed up because the movie had just come out. It was relatively popular with kids, and I was such a geek and like such a young kid. I like asked Leonardo for his autograph. Now that he went Hollywood, I wanted his autograph because I don't think it was the first time I'd seen a turtle in a suit, like a Ninja Turtle in a suit. And I was like, I recall quoting to him parts of the movie, like when Leonardo sticks his there's a part in Ninja Turtles where like Leonardo throws swords into the ceiling. He grabs the swords and he like bicycle kicks the foot soldier in front of him and stuff like that. And I can recall, I have a very clear memory of like discussing that scene and how I thought his acting was really good, or that I really enjoyed that part of the movie. And he had, I'm sure whatever guy was in that scene had no idea what this dorky kid was talking to him about. So that makes me giggle when I think back to it. Not a lot else can be exposed. I mean, you can see a little bit more of the color of like an employee's uniform. So these are the three types of employees that were at Funtime Pizza. So you had people that just kind of helped behind the counter and help bring out parties. You had some people that were dressing up in outfits for entertainment, and then you had hostesses, and they would dress up as clowns. And right here, you see some kids sock. I think maybe we were close to the playground. Here is another picture of my cousin Sky on the table. So this is Sky's younger than me, but I almost feel like Sky's like 4 years younger than I am. Maybe just about 4 years younger than I am. But I almost feel like this is before my birthday party that year, even though I don't know how the track lines up, because this just looks, the pictures are older when you look at the originals. Like the pictures have more wear and tear on them. This was a curtain that would come in front of the RAE band, and remember, different times had different covers, as I understand, because the way that the covers or the position of the stage kind of changed over time. So I think this is actually the stage being in a different area or different zone that would actually open up and stuff, and the tables were actually oriented differently. So that was pretty cool. But unfortunately, that's all the photos that I dug through last night. I mean, maybe my mom has a couple more boxes, and I might have some of my own personal collections of photos, but that's what I have to kind of take you back through the trip of Funtime Pizza. And apologies, but I just need to splice one little section in, because as I had the photos of Funtime Pizza, I hope my video editing is relatively amateur, so I hope this isn't too awkward. But one of the things I wanted to do was just kind of recall and go over the arcades that I can 100% remember being there at Funtime Pizza. Just to kind of give a memory of what the arcade did look like. So I got a little slide, a couple images of the pictures of arcades that I can 100% confirm that were there. They had an X-Men 6-player. This looks to be an X-Men 6-player, maybe with an LCD mod in it. There was a way, essentially on this huge 6-man cabinet, as I collect arcades now, I know this. It's a 2-screen cabinet, so it had like maybe 25 inches in there, and they also had some glass. So either this is a good picture of the way the glass reflected and made one widescreen image of the thing, or somebody LCD'd this. I can't really tell. It's a really bad picture, but they had an X-Men 6-player in Funtime Pizza that I can remember playing on. Probably the first time I played Funtime Pizza. Now they had a Street Fighter 2. It was the first time I ever touched Street Fighter 2 was at Funtime Pizza, and it was just great. It was absolutely awesome. I don't think it was this version. And the reason I put this picture of this specific one is because I think they had a Dynamo, and it was a long time ago. They may have gone from the first Street Fighter 2, which is this is kind of like the first implementation of Street Fighter 2, the first artwork kit they had it, and this is in what's called a Dynamo. That's a Dynamo HS2, or maybe an HS5. It's a Dynamo HS. And I know that the one that I can remember playing, and there's a picture of it here, and this is a Champion Edition, right? So eventually they'd added the new features. So I can remember both playing just Street Fighter 2, where it was just the original characters. I think it was like Chun-Li, Blanca, Zangief, Ryu, Ken, E Honda, and then I believe mostly of the time what arcades did is they sell like upgrade kits. So they'd sell you the artwork. So it's the same type of cabinet, but they'd sell you an artwork skin and these ran off what's called the CPS2. So you could take out that CPS2, the cart, the A board, and put or the B board, and take out the B board and put it on top of the motherboard. Because this is kind of the one. And I think it was an HS that was there but it also kind of had a flatter panel from what I can remember putting my hands on and stuff like that. But they definitely had Street Fighter 2. Operation Wolf. Funtime Pizza had Operation Wolf. It was a great shooter game, very similar to like a Terminator 2. But that game was there. They also had Street Fighter 1, and I don't think I got a picture of it. Same thing. It was in a Dynamo cabinet. Street Fighter 1. I think you could only pick 2 characters in SF1. I've never actually seen one up for auction or to try to get. I've been meaning to get one. That Operation Wolf, one of the vendor or redemption games they had, which is this like Down the Clown. It wasn't this specific model, but you would get balls and you would throw it at the Down the Clown in the back. So they had one of these as a redemption game. They had a Big Mouth, very similar to this. I think that the artwork on the clown was a tad different. I think it had red hair and it would kind of like scoped out the side, like the 2 sides. It was bald, but it had the teeth, and you would hit this little button, which you can kind of see right here, and it goes, and you would shoot the ball, and you would try to knock the teeth out. And based on how many teeth you got out, it was how many tickets that you got. When they had one of those, they had this color, this skin of skee ball. This is very 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 close and accurate to what was at Funtime Pizza. Obviously, they had Street Fighter 2. They had a Turtles, right? I don't remember them having a Turtles in time, but they definitely had a Turtles. They had a Turtles. I played that tons and tons with Kevin. They had a Terminator 2 Judgment Day machine there. I can vividly remember playing that there. They had a Simpsons. I have a Simpsons now, and whatchamacallit. And those are the arcades that I can remember being at. And which was my absolute favorite place. I mean, Funtime Pizza was my jam. So hopefully that was educational or fun, and helped put in some information about Mcallen way back, etc. It's unfortunate we're losing a lot of the history of like gaming in Mcallen, and I think a few of us should do a better job of restoring and archiving that. So if you, I've got a couple other videos. Actually, I got a lot of pretty cool videos that are lined up based on gaming and repairs and stuff like that. I do a lot of electronic repairs on old retro consoles and things like that. So if you want to stick around and hit a subscribe to see if I'm going to try to do some giveaways, some old vintage retro gaming stuff of the Valley. I will find some Gorilla George tokens. I guarantee you. I think I even know a guy who has a box sitting around somewhere, and I'm going to try to give some of those away. And I'm going to do. I've got some decent pictures of Fantasyland. Before they moved retro Fantasyland. And so and I think I even have some of Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm going to try to find some of Montasia. So. Might do a couple other venues. I have absolutely no pictures of Mr. Funds or Nickelodeons, but I have some other people that I'm going to talk to. So if you want to keep learning about the history of like older retro gaming back in Mcallen, stick around. Thank you for your time, and have a great one.